It's time, my friends. Yes, it's time. I'm gonna dye this sucker, finally. Uber simple setup here. So first you go in with your cleaner to make sure that your leather's conditioned. I've already done that, so I'm not gonna do it in this video. So especially if your vachetta leather is dry, moisten it up before you put any dyes and these kind of harsh chemical products on your vachetta, because otherwise what will happen is you'll really damage it a lot. So then I have just a rag. I've got one of these dabbers for bigger areas. It makes the work a lot faster, and a few brushes. I'll probably end up using mostly this one for the edge work and then dabbing the rest of it because I don't need to be careful. And I have Feibing's leather dye, and I'm also using some black Resolene. You could also use clear Resolene if you're dyeing your products black. So that's it. So where to start with this, you guys? I think what I'm going to do is go right in the difficult parts first, which is going to be right around the rim. This bag is packed with some stuffing, some other protective bags actually. I'm not really worried about penetrating this canvas really. I'm just going to do a surface job really, so let's get started. I think I'll go in and do this side here. On the other side, wait a bit and do the coats again, and then I'll join you with this part. I think my camera died in the middle of its dyeing process. I don't know how much you're going to get on camera, but I've done one coat on everything. No major problems, but I am noticing that parts of my bag here are very dry and brittle, and that's around the dangerous parts of the bag, meaning in the future this may fall apart, in which case I have a leather worker who will fix it. So I'm just going to go ahead as planned, and I'm going to give this a second coat, paying attention now to places that I may have missed. It's a little bit more brown than black. It appears to me to have brownish tinges anyway, which means that it's in need of another coat. It is day 3 of my dye project here with my Totally GM, and I'm going to go in right now with some Resolene. Okay, so the Resolene is basically like the top coat. It seals the dye and gives it a nice sheen, and this particular one is in black, and basically I want to go in with a couple of very thin coats, and that should seal the deal. What I like about this black Resolene is that it's adding some blue back into the black. I think this particular dye goes a little bit brown-like, faded brown-like on this old vachetta leather, and this is bringing back some of the vibrancy with the blue undertones. At least that's the way it's looking for me off camera at the moment. Of course, this stuff is going to dry, so it might not be as jet black as it's looking right now, but definitely the dye will stop sticking to my hands. One thing I forgot to do is to wipe the dye down to get off some residuals before I started with the Resolene, but hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. Okay, we'll let that dry and then we'll flip the strap up. We'll do the upper part of the bag strap off camera. It's a bit finicky. So on the piping, I'm only doing basically the top. I don't need to go into the nooks and crannies to the same extent I did with the dye. I'm just giving it a nice coat where it might make contact with other things like tables and hands.